Welcome to SAM Conversation, a program of South Asia Monitor. Our discussion today is changes in Myanmar affecting India. The discussion for this is Dr. Udai Bhanu Singh, a former Senior Research Associate of the Manohar Parrikar Research and Analysis, Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defence and Strategic Studies, Manohar Parrikar IDSA. He has been looking at Myanmar in the southeast for very long. It is now going to be within a few days 4 years since the military junta in Myanmar had a coup. That is on the 1st of February, 4 years ago. On 1st of February this year, it will be 4 years since the coup. A lot has happened since then. We have the Three Brotherhood Alliance, which is a combo of the Arakan Army, Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, Taang National Liberation Army. They have been able to gain quite a bit of ground. In 2023 October, almost 10,000 of them were responsible for at least 100 posts of the military posts of the junta being defeated, and the personnel fleeing away by leaving the arms and ammunition. Although the offensive against the junta has been, it's been given the name Operation 1027. After 27 October 23, it's alleged to be supported by China. However, its successes so far are limited. Dr. Udai Bhanu Singh, I request you to bring us up to date with whatever has happened, with particular reference to how it's going to affect India.
Thank you, Colonel Bhatt. It's a pleasure to be called for this program again, South Asia Monitor. And it's always interesting to watch India's neighborhood develop. And that Myanmar, for us, occupies a very important position strategically. It is at the tri-junction, and its importance in a geopolitical manner is immense for India. We need to see where Myanmar is headed and where it has been up till now. As you very rightly said, that on the 1st of February, they'll be completing 4 years of after the coup. It will be the 4th anniversary of the coup. And that is a very significant point, because a few years back, we were building scenarios of what would happen to Myanmar in the coming years. And now it seems all the scenarios are there now. Whether it is Myanmar wanting to the junta continuing in power, or the junta wanting to hold elections. So, in fact, two of the scenarios seem to be unfolding together. So, at the moment, we find that the military holds 1/3 of Myanmar territory, and 2/3 of the population is under control of the Myanmar army. And the regime's finances at this point are very low. They are economically in a very bad situation at the moment. Opposition forces now control 2 of the 14 military regional commands. This is a very significant development because this kind of thing hadn't happened before. According to the NUG, which is the opposition government, uh, they control 95 of the 330 townships of Myanmar, while the SAC, the military junta, has effective control of only 161 townships. So the control of the military junta is slipping out of them. The townships, the areas, the territory, they are losing to the PDFs and the ethnic armed groups. The Arakan army in the Rakhine state controls 15 of the 17 townships. Now, that means almost full control of Rakhine, the western state of Rakhine, is being controlled by the Arakan army. The Rakhine state borders Bangladesh, and this is also a cause of concern for Bangladesh as well. At the moment, Arakan army is controlling all this area, and they are very close to Sitwe port. So they are surrounding Sitwe port, and they're also their armies. The Arakan army is also near the borders of Chokfu. The Chokfu port is also within their reach. So the Arakan army has now also crossed into the Ayarwadi state. Now, so they are into the Bamar heartland. That means now they are entering a totally different territory where the Bamars are majority. That area also is being transgressed, is being taken over by the Arakan army and the opposition groups. And the same is the story developing in the other states. In Kachin, in the north, the Kachin Independence Army has taken over the town of Mansi. And the KIA is now controlling almost half of the Kachin state. And for us, Chin state is important. And the Chin opposition forces control almost the entire state, which borders India and Bangladesh. Almost 85% of the state is being controlled by the opposition forces. Even though they may be different opposition groups, but they control 85% of the Chin state. So the point that I'm trying to make is that the military is facing problems in various parts in different states, and it is losing territorial control in these areas. Now, the military is also, the military, was considered one of the most strongest militaries in Southeast Asia. It had large manpower and good equipment. In fact, India had also recently given a submarine to the Myanmar Navy. But the military now is a depleted military. It is facing a lot of defections, and there are a lot of surrenders from the officers at the higher levels also, and of course at the lower levels also. So it is the ethnic armed groups and the PDFs which are gaining ground now. So we are now facing a situation where the military is slipping its control. And the other side is now winning. And that presents a lot of difficulties for policymakers on how to deal with Myanmar, not only India, but the neighboring countries, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is even China is.
In fact, pardon me, at this stage, you may please intervene.
Yes,
If
please.
you could please bring out the strength of connections of China and Bangladesh, because it's just it's just incidental that Bangladesh has been in a state of turmoil since August last year, August 23, and I won't go too deep into whatever there's a lot of happening there, but anything about the connection, because now there is a Chinese connection certainly. Till the military junta was in power, their relations with China were not the kind where China, of course, would like, if it can help it, it would like to take over, Myanmar. But that was not going to be, uh, that was not going to happen with the junta in power. So could you throw some light on this and also on the Kaladan, the status of the Kaladan project?
Certainly, I think Bangladesh is important. In fact, at one place, uh, it was mentioned that Bangladesh is the starting point of our Look East policy, our Act East policy. So, with Myanmar in turmoil, India was looking at Bangladesh as an opening to Southeast Asia. So this was the alternative for us. Now, and we had a very supportive government in power in Bangladesh till recently. So, and we were also, that government was also helpful to India in dealing with terrorist groups within
No doubt,
Bangladesh
no doubt.
borders. And
Our relationship with the Awami League was very, very, very good, very strong.
And now the situation has entirely changed. And
Correct.
now we have two neighbors to our east which are in turmoil. And to deal with this situation, particularly where Bangladesh already has, their the Rohingya camps are there, and there was talk of repatriation of some of the Rohingyas who are there in Bangladesh. So there was some kind of expectation that some kind of reconciliation would take place between Bangladesh and Myanmar. But the situation which is existing at Myanmar at the moment, that makes our problem doubly confounding. So we need to now see how best we can deal with this kind of a situation where the Myanmar Bangladesh border is in disarray, and our own we are also faced with refugee influx in our states. Our problem is that we have a very long border with Myanmar. Myanmar being geographically, strategically very important to us because of the 1643 long kilometer border that we have. We have Arunachal Pradesh, starting with Arunachal Pradesh, over 500 kilometers of border, Nagaland, over 200 kilometers, Manipur with nearly 400 kilometers, and Mizoram with over 500 kilometers long border. So in all, more than 1600 kilometer long border, and in at least two of the states, Manipur and Mizoram, we are facing a lot of ingress by refugees uh, fleeing from this troubled eastern neighbors of ours. And that is creating its own instability in our northeastern states, particularly Manipur and Mizoram, which has traditionally has been for a number of years been quiet. Then we could see some turmoil there as well in the future. So our northeast is affected by this. Secondly, I mean, I would like to actually come to basically our objectives. What have been our objectives uh, in dealing with Myanmar? We've had some strategic objectives. We've had some economic objectives. Strategically, the China factor has played an important role. China is, whenever the democratic forces have been weak in Myanmar, the Chinese have had an opportunity to, have a role in Myanmar. And the military, since it has had a long rule in Myanmar, they have taken help from China off and on. And both economically and militarily, military arms, it was dependent on China. So China is also building a number of projects in Myanmar. And if I could perhaps show you some of the maps that I have, which would help you. Can I
What
show
about
you?
the status of the Kaladan project, which would eventually connect India and Myanmar?
Exactly, that's what I was coming to. The Kaladan multimodal project, which starts from Zorinpui in Mizoram and goes on till Sitwe port in Myanmar. That is a multimodal project because the Kaladan River, the Chitwe port, and the road linking Zoranpui with Myanmar, that road is the bone of contention at the moment because the Arakan army controls the Rakhine state where this project passes through. So, because of the disturbance in Rakhine state, the Kaladan project is not able to move to its completion as far as the road link is concerned. Once the road link is completed, the Kaladan project would provide access to Mizoram and our northeastern states
Yes, and
to the Bay of Bengal.
Paletwa is one place which
Exactly.
which is I think been they've established some control over Paletwa, which is affecting the um, Kaladan project. Now,
Yes.
what about there are Indian insurgent turned terrorist groups like the Alpha and the NSCN, the National Socialist Council of Nagaland, and Alpha, the United Liberation Front of Ahom. At least these two and some other groups also, which were enjoying shelter there. What is their they had very good relations with the junta. That's how they were able to enjoy shelter there.
The
Any
entire
light you can throw on that?
The entire problem is that the kind of support that we were receiving earlier from Bangladesh, which helped us deal with Ulfa and other
Yes, yes, yes.
terrorist groups which were taking refuge in Bangladesh, that support is now missing. And now also the Myanmar army has virtually no control on the border regions. So that is the additional problem that we face in Rakhine State. And besides that, in Sagaing and Chin State, we face the problem that our trilateral highway, which begins in Manipur and goes through Myanmar, that project also, which was nearing completion, is at a standstill at the moment.
Yes.
So these two flagship projects of India have suffered a setback because of the situation in Myanmar. I would like to just come to some of the major timelines that we have seen how India has tried to deal with the developing situation in Myanmar since February of 2021 when the coup happened. In December 2021, the Indian Foreign Secretary had visited Myanmar, and at that time he had met Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. And in April of the next year, 2022, Ambassador Vinay Kumar had become the new ambassador in Myanmar. So some kind of a change began in April 2022, more of engagement. November 2022, Indian Foreign Secretary visits Myanmar and he also met again the Senior General. In October 2023, that was a very important turning point when the Operation 1027 had happened. October of 27 in 2023, when the Myanmar junta began to lose control over its territory in a major way, when the three groups had joined together against the military junta. And we also saw another change of our tack from New Delhi when we sent a new ambassador in April 2024, when Ambassador Abhay Thakur took over as India's new ambassador. From that point onwards, you could say that a subtle shift in India's policy towards Myanmar has taken place when we started a kind of dual track of engagement. And we now have not only our engagement with the Myanmar military, but there is also a second track of engagement with some of these ethnic groups, some of the opposition groups. So in February of 2024, an important development again took place when a Rajya Sabha MP met the Arakan army in Paletwa in Chin state. So this was important because for somebody from the Indian Parliament to actually have gone and met the Arakan army. We had a different history of relationship with the Arakan army in the past. So we had actually helped the Myanmar military tackle Arakan army earlier. So there is a change of subtle change. And in November of 2024, another important development was holding of a seminar with SSC-led delegation, and there were some anti-SSG ethnic armed organizations also taking part in the backdrop of this seminar, which was held by Indian Council of World Affairs. So we have had a number of policy changes, some attempt at change because of the developing situation in our neighboring country. So we have to see how these changes will take us forward, because the other neighboring countries, particularly Thailand, which has a continuing has a long border with Myanmar also, has tried to utilize its close relationship with the Myanmar military in bringing the neighboring countries together in a dialogue and trying to see that some kind of uh, way forward can be found in Myanmar. So that also happened, and India was also a party to that dialogue that took place in Thailand earlier. So uh, the other ASEAN countries have also attempted to uh, tackle the problem in Myanmar. You know, Malaysia will be the forthcoming chair of ASEAN in this year. Uh, Malaysian Foreign Minister Mohammed Hassan had said, we told them election is not a priority. Now, the Myanmar military is talking of an election in November 2025. They said election is not a priority, priority is ceasefire. I think this is the pressure that ASEAN is trying to convey to Myanmar, that first you bring the hostility to an end. Malaysia has also announced the appointment of a former diplomat, Othman Hashim, as special envoy on Myanmar crisis. He is expected to visit Myanmar soon, and let's see where that will take ASEAN's 5-point consensus, which has suffered a setback in the recent past because hostilities haven't stopped, dialogue hasn't really taken place, and humanitarian aid, which should be reaching the affected parties, that also has been hindered. So, to have ASEAN's 5-point consensus going forward, we have to see what Malaysia, which is perhaps a little more proactive than Laos, the previous chair, has been. Maybe Malaysia can take this process forward. Malaysia is capable of taking a slightly more of a hard line towards Myanmar. The it is trying to engage NUG in Myanmar, and it is criticizing the junta for blocking the conflict resolution efforts. But on the other hand, the Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has also appointed former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra as a personal advisor on ASEAN matters. So, in a way, Malaysia is also playing a balancing role. It is uh, taken on Thaksin Shinawatra as a personal advisor on ASEAN matters. So now the focus will be in the coming days on what Malaysia's Foreign Minister Mohammed Hassan and the Special Envoy on the Myanmar crisis, Othman Hashim, begin to do with regard to Myanmar. If because India has given focus on ASEAN centrality. So if we want ASEAN to succeed, we hope that Malaysia will be able to provide some way forward to dealing with the Myanmar crisis.
Dr. Udai Bhanu, I have to stop here because we are short of time. But thank you very much for an exhaustive, briefing on what is going on and the aspect, implications. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you. But I only just wanted to put one more point, that India will have to be dealing with whoever is in power in Myanmar, and
Of course,
India
of
to
course.
carry forward India's strategic interests and to deal with
Yes, yes, no doubt,
China
no doubt,
effectively.
no
Yes.
doubt. Thank you, Dr. Bhanu.
Thank you, Colonel Bhat.